in a bowl, I'm taking 1/3 of a cup of old-fashioned rolled oats, and to that, I'm going to add 1/4 of a cup of chopped walnuts. You can use any other nuts, pecans or macadamia or any other nuts that you like. And to that, I'm going to add 1/4 of a cup of chopped dates. Again, you can use other dried fruits, raisins, apricots, anything else that you like. And 1/4 of a cup of coconut sugar. You can also use jaggery powder or brown sugar or just regular sugar. And to that, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon powder. And I'm grating in here about 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. A fresh nutmeg is always better, so I'm just grating it into the bowl itself. So now we're gonna add to this mixture about 1.5 tablespoon of melted ghee. I'm using melted ghee, but you can also use melted butter if you prefer. Now we're just gonna mix everything together. And this is going to be our filling for the baked apples. And you can change the spices to your liking, add more or less of dried fruits or anything according to your preference. But this is just how I make it. We're going to set this aside. Now we're going to take about 4 to 5 apples. So you can choose any kind of apple. I'm using Fuji, but you can use Gala or other kinds of apple, even Granny Smith. Basically, you want the insides to be softer and the outsides to be a little bit crisp when you bake. So I'm gonna core the middle part out. If you have an apple corer, that's great, but I don't, so I'm gonna use I found that I have this metal spoon, soup spoon. I found that that works like really well to core out the middle, so I'm just gonna use that and core out the middle. So what you want to get is the seeds, obviously, but you also want to make space, enough room to stuff in a little bit of the filling. So you're gonna also take out a little bit of the flesh, and you don't want to core it all the way through. You just want to go in about 3/4, a little bit more than 3/4 of the way into the apple, so that we have a nice cored apple to stuff in our filling. So you're going to have to get some of the flesh as well. And as you can see here, I've poured out the seeds, but also there's room. I've poured out a little bit of the flesh around the seeds as well. So this is how you want your baked apple. If you want more stuffing inside, make the hole bigger. If you want less, make it smaller. It's up to you. So I'm going to core out the rest of my apple. So once all of the apples have been cored out, what you want to do is take the filling that we made earlier and stuff it in. So what I like to do is add in a spoon or 2 of the filling and then just use my thumb to press it in so that it's nice and crunched up inside, and then add more. So I like to add as much as I can, and some people prefer more filling. If that's the case with you, make the apple holes a little bit bigger so that you can stuff more of the filling. So I'm gonna fill in all of the cored apples, and I actually ended up using a 5th apple because I had more stuffing left. So I've filled everything in, and then I'm just stuffing in as much of the filling as I can. So once the fillings have been filled into the core, we're gonna add 3/4 of a cup of water into the baking pan. You can also use apple cider if you have, or apple juice. And then we're gonna put this in the oven, preheated at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 45 minutes to an hour. Basically, you want the apples to soften up, and once a knife is inserted on the side of the apple, you want it to get through easily, cut the apple easily. And if you want, some people prefer to make this even softer and bake it longer. If you want that, bake it for another 5 or 10 minutes more, depending on how soft you want your apple to be. So we're gonna put this in the oven, and about halfway through the baking process, we're gonna take this out and baste the apples. So the water absorbs some of the spices and the sweetness from the filling, and we're just going to baste the apples with this water and put this back in the oven to complete the cooking process. So after about 45 minutes, this is what the apples look like. They are nice and brown, and when I insert a knife to the side, it goes in quite easily. It's very soft. The apples are very soft. So this is pretty much done, but some people like the apples to be even softer. If that's the case with you, you can put it back in the oven for about 5 or 10 minutes more. At this point, I'm just gonna baste the apple one more time. And what I like to do is, I don't wanna bake it further, but what I like to do is cover this with an aluminium foil to make it a little bit softer. I mean, this is good as is, but if you prefer, this is just personally what I like to do. Cover this with the aluminium foil, and I've turned off the oven, but it's still warm from the baking. So I like to just put it in the oven for another 15 or 20 minutes until the apples are a little bit softer, but not, baked some more. And also it's very nice and warm for when you're ready to enjoy them. So these are what the apples look like. They're nice and soft. It's an easy dessert, healthy-ish as far as desserts go. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Say a little prayer and spread the love. I'll see you in the next video.